I started taking it a lot more seriously. I started observing the markets. I started writing a journal down, what kind of trades work, what kinds of trades don't work, reading, listening, researching, and experimenting, and slowly sort of built a process that I thought worked. And even once I had the process, then I slowly had to develop the mindset to be disciplined to that process, right? And like I say, the easiest way to do that is to lose money. Lose money on trades where you're not disciplined, and slowly it chips into you. Like, why am I doing these trades where I'm not being disciplined if I'm losing money?
I would say my trading in the last 4 years was much better, of course, than it was in the first 3 years. But a big part of that is probably because I've done a lot of mindfulness work, which the mindfulness work outside of trading, I think, has transformed into beneficial characteristics that show in my trading, increasing my patience, increasing my discipline. And I think when like mindfulness stuff to me, meditation every day, I've been doing yoga for longer than trading, but I actually got my yoga teacher certification last year. So doing things like that really push me to be a student, be an amateur, learn something new, mindfulness, breath work, all of these things I am an amateur in, but they have made a direct impact in helping me see myself, I think, better. And then by understanding my own strengths and my own weaknesses, that's where you can then say, yeah, my strength may be in my technical analysis, but I know that I'm not thinking how I want to be thinking when I'm trading. Something's going on, I'm emotional, I'm flip-flopping. Without awareness, you don't even realize that you're buying Bitcoin and selling Bitcoin on the same day because you're just lost in the technicals. So I think that was where I was like, okay, I'm not so much lost in the technicals because I'm bad at technical analysis. I'm lost in the technicals because my head is all over the place. Why am I buying and selling the same thing every day? Why am I chasing like momentum on things that I don't even trade? All of a sudden I'm trading GBP CHF and I don't even look at that. Those things I started to like, it's almost like a flashlight was showing me my weaknesses as I pushed myself down that mindfulness path more through yoga, through meditation and things like that, which to some people listening, they're going to be like, that's so corny, bro. I ain't doing that stuff, but for me, it made a big difference. Nothing else came into my life at that point that would have been like the mental thing. It's not like I had brain surgery and got a brand new, nothing happened other than pushing myself outside of my trading to be my best self. Your trading self is a direct reflection of your everyday self. So if you're out in the world and the characteristics that you exhibit do not align with successful trading, there's no way you're going to be able to come in and trade well. But if you can align yourself off the charts with the good behavior that you need to be good on the charts, I think that's where you find the sweet spot.
If there's one thing I've learned in life, whether it be battlefields, sport fields, boardrooms, trading floors, etc., is that it is better to have a much simpler plan that can be executed easily, rather than an elaborate plan that kind of breaks down when you're actually trying to basically execute it. There's like an old military saying that no plan survives first contact with the enemy, and it can be true in trading, and so having a very, very simple plan, desperately simple plan that you can follow is better. And the way you can do that is even that simple plan, you can break it down into very simple steps, a bit like a checklist that actually each individual can follow. And as I said, focus on the success being following the plan more so than the outcome of the trade. I appreciate it's not always easy just to switch your focus from the outcome of your trades to the process of it, because the process, it's boring, it's not sexy. People go onto YouTube and see videos of guys, taking these great trades, and they think they want that part of it. But actually, to get you through that and get you over that hump, just having a couple of simple plan, break it down into even smaller little chunks that you can follow. And if there's particular parts that you're failing to follow, well, it will show up much, much faster. And then you can start to apply a bit of focus and a little bit of debrief, a little bit of a review on what is it about that particular part of the plan that you're struggling with that you need to change and adapt, and and you can get through it that way.
What held me back for a long time in the results in the P&L was that I would be building my first strategy, was called the A1. and we're looking for the A1 entry, and I might see 2 of them present that day, and I take them, and let's just say on this day they were both winners. Then there's other trade ideas that I have, and because I'm egotistical, because I'm whatever I am, I think I'm always right, I'm still taking those trade ideas even though they're off my system, off this strategy I'm building, right? Then at the end of the day, because I'm not tracking all of those trades properly, I can just say, hey, I had 2 wins today, and then that other thing I did, I won't do that again, don't worry about it. And then it never gets talked about again. The mistake, the chasing the trade, the extra stuff you never gets, and then it's like re-ingraining these bad habits into you by not taking accountability for your actions. So if you're in that point of like, I'm trying to figure out where my issue is, just start tracking everything. And I mean on the charts and off the chart. Then you should also be tracking your on the charts habits, the things that you need to do when you're at the desk to be your best self. Again, I have to do 5 playbooks. I have to generate 5 new trade ideas. I have to X, Y, and Z, whatever. I want to watch an hour of educational videos for trading, whatever it is, or podcasts. Those on the charts habits that some days we just slack off on. But if you have a checklist and a little accountability with maybe your community and stuff like that, then it's a lot more annoying at the end of the week when you look back on it and you say, oh, I'm not meditating as much as I thought. So along with the on the chart stuff, tracking the off the charts, working out, spending time with family, doing the mindfulness practice, all of that stuff should be tracked too. Diet, sleep, because like, again, as this is something that has become very clear, this is not an amateur's game. If you treat trading like a hobby, you get poor results. But if you treat it like you're LeBron James playing in the NBA finals, you will get better results. So I think I look at myself like a high performance athlete. I need to get enough sleep. I need to be eating right because this is the machine, bro. And if you put bad gasoline into the machine, the output is going to suck. It's not going to go the way it's supposed to go. So that's why tracking the stuff even off the charts makes a big difference too, because then you can see what areas of your life do you actually maybe need to make some improvements in that could then, without even doing anything else, just maybe start eating better and stop eating late at night, drink more water, simple things like that. All of a sudden, you start thinking a little bit more clearly. Tracking your trading errors, your off the charts and your on the charts habits, and then see where you're actually weak. But a lot of people, they'll build the spreadsheet, they'll do all that, and as you probably would agree, you'll know, they will lie to themselves. You're not even lying to me. You're lying to yourself. If you, I didn't meditate today, but you still check the box. No, you've got to be honest with yourself, which I think for a lot of people, that's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is being honest with yourself. So it's like, how do you get to that point to be willing to understand that you need that? Bro, some guys are like, man, I don't need that. I don't need that. No, we all need that. That's part of being a human being, but you just don't want to accept it yet. And it's holding you back.
A lot of people don't want to do it, especially if they've had a bad trading session. Maybe they've had losing trades, maybe they've broken their rules, all right, or they've been impulsive trading, and actually they don't want to debrief it. If anything, they just want to basically, forget about it. They want to ignore it. They want to avoid it. They want to just basically sort of kind of figuratively, literally, mentally, they want to just put all of that trades in a little box and forget about them and say, oh, well, tomorrow's another day. But actually, what I say to traders is that your next evolution as a trader is probably on the other side of the pain of going through those kind of losing trades, those losing streaks. Embrace it, all right? Having losing trades, it says nothing about your self-worth as a human being. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a terrible trader. We all make mistakes, all right? It's about if you can make sure that you're not repeating those mistakes, or you're reducing those mistakes as much as you can. So, ring fence a bit of time, even have yourself a little process of what you go through, okay? I get people to grade their trades on the performance of it, how they executed it, and what was their confidence in the trade. Gather all those scores, start to look and see where are your best trades happening, where are your challenging trades happening, and start to look at, well, what can I do to improve that? It's not an overnight. You don't become an overnight sensation as a trader. It is week after week, just getting a little bit better every week, and it's that takes a bit of discipline, consistency, and dedication.
So for me, I think regardless of whether you've been in this game for 5 years, 15 years, or even longer, there's always challenges because the market is always different. There are elements that are the same, and there are patterns that that I look for, and I know other traders will look for. But you're constantly evolving and growing, and it's a little bit like that old saying: if you're not growing, then essentially you're dying. So for me, it's the same, that trading is always a challenge. And one of the things I learned from one of my first coaches was that you're in a dance. So sometimes you're leading and things feel great. Sometimes you're more on the back foot. So for me, the way that you maintain that is that you accept that trading is going to be a challenge. I think a lot of traders, like I've said, think they're going to get a year down the line, or they use the phrase of, well, when I get to this point, everything will be all right. And I think if you early on in your process can accept that what you're getting to do is extremely rewarding. And if you think about the number of people that attempt to trade versus the number of people that are actually successful as traders, I think if you can accept that as a result of that, you're going to be in a very small minority relative to the number of people that actually try it, that acceptance that it's going to be challenging, and there are always going to be challenges. I'll give you an example. Last year, 2021, I had a great quarter one, but I made no money in quarter two. It was about 3 or 4 weeks into quarter three of 2021 before I made any money. Now, as somebody who's been trading for 20 years, that's the first time that I've had a whole quarter where I've essentially been break even. So even for me, after all this time, that it didn't stop me trading. It didn't mean that I broke my rules or did anything different, but mentally that was a little bit different for me. So even after 20 years, things can come along that you're not necessarily expecting. And I think if you can relish that and enjoy it and see it as a challenge, rather than hope that you're going to have all your problems in the first year and then everything's going to be perfect after that, you're mentally equipped much better to deal with it. It's the traders that think, oh, I'm just going to get all my problems out of the way in 6 months and everything will be fine. They then get a shock. So I try and do this with myself, and I install it in the traders I work with, that this is a constant journey and a constant challenge. And really, if you're not willing to accept that from day one until the day you stop trading, you're going to make it a lot harder for yourself, I think.